Good morning, brand DIYers. It is Mark here and I'm out of focus. What the heck is going on? Why am I out of focus? Hold on, let me just start this. Let me just figure this out here. What in the Sam Hill? There we go. Well, I'm still out of focus a little bit. Anyways, there we are. No, there we aren't. There we are. All right. Um, Good morning, brand DIYers. Now I'm in focus. I feel perfectly focused. It's a Friday, and I think it's actually my eyes that are going. It's probably not that I'm not in focus. Today is a wonderful day for me in more ways than one. I have been following the election results. I will confess, I promise never to bring politics into this, but they do creep in because politics and brands are connected. And personally, I feel optimistic today because of that, but also the sun is shining outside. It's a beautiful Friday, and I have a great topic to share with you. I want to talk about rapid revenue recovery and your brand. So before I do that, though, let me say I believe that this moment for myself and perhaps for you is an inflection point. And I'm talking about right now, right here, Friday morning. It may or may not be important. The election results show that there is a shift. And when there's a shift, there can either be a disruption for good or for bad. Pandemic is still here. Economic meltdown is still here. None of that has changed. However, there is disruption. And that means there could be an inflection point. Do we do this or do we do that? Psychologically, I believe that all of us have taken a beating over the last year between politics, the pandemic, the economy, whether you're doing good or not. And I know quite a few of you out there who are doing extremely well right now. Whether you're doing good or not, it doesn't really matter. I still believe that you're probably feeling more anxious than you were in 2019. So I believe that today, right now, Friday morning, could be seen as a bit of the parting of the clouds for us. And the sunshine is coming down. I know right now it is actually coming down. The sunshine is coming down outside my window here. So it may not be for long. Sunshine gets clouded up pretty quickly, but I believe we need to take advantage of it. Now, serendipity, I also just got an email from McKinsey. I'm on the McKinsey mailing list, and a few days ago I brought up a topic that McKinsey had sent me, and I sort of twisted that into the whole brand perspective, and they sent me another excellent email, and there was an interview with some big brains, and they talked about rapid revenue recovery. And granted, they did it from a solid business, from a full-on business perspective, not so much from a marketing perspective or a brand perspective, but everything, virtually everything they said had an implication for us here at Brand DIY. So essentially, what they said in this story, and I'm going to share it with you in the links as I describe this story, the show notes rather, essentially, it was about opening your eyes, looking at how consumers are interacting with you, what they love, what they hate about working with you, and using those insights and going, thinking about them for a minute, and using those insights to fix the leaks in your business boat. Now, there are 5 things specifically that came out in this interview. 1, you want to accelerate growth in e-commerce. That is, embrace the digital surge. Now, we have been harping on about that at Brand DIY. There has been severe disruption to bricks and mortar retail. Everybody is shopping online. Survey after survey that I've shared with you is that people are getting very comfortable with shopping online. What's next in online? So not only is online shopping the new normal, or is becoming the new normal, but what's next in digital shopping? What's next in e-commerce? Think about that today as the sun shines down and we have this moment of inflection. The granularity of recovery, that's the second thing they talked about in this story. There is not one pandemic for us. You could say there's 50 pandemics. You could say there's 5 million pandemics. So many people feel the pandemic and the economic meltdown and the political disruption that's happened south of the border in the States. They feel it and experience it in different ways. What's the implication for you as a business? We've all been harping on the whole idea of customizing your offering for your consumers. We've said it a million times. I'm going to say it again. Customization for consumers is key, whether that's in how you offer your service, the buyer journey that you offer to people, the loyalty programs that you offer, but I'll get to that in a second. The next one, number 3, is virtual agility. We are all working from home. However, is that where virtual ends? How can we accelerate the speed of decision making? How can we get strategic? It isn't virtual agility doesn't mean just having everybody on Zoom calls and do check-ins and virtual water cooler talk. Where can we take this thing? How can we use virtual to leapfrog into the next? Great question that McKinsey posed. Number 4, business model reimagination. If you had a service, does it now mean that you should have a product? If you are holding big warehouse space, should you be holding big warehouse space, or should you be just-in-time production? What does it mean? It is crazy. We have all been hunkered down thinking about the pandemic and recovery, but perhaps now it's time for a moment of reflection and inflection going, am I in the right business? And this has a very big implication for brand that I'll get to in a second. The final point McKinsey brought up, number 5, was self-funded growth. And yeah, this kind of has an implication for brand, but not so much. Essentially what they talk about in the McKinsey email is that a short while ago, it used to be come up with an idea and turn around and start looking for venture capital to grow that idea. However, what we are seeing is that there is this new spirit of independence and bootstrap yourself, where if you have a good idea, it's getting easier and easier to bring that idea to market by yourself before you ever start talking to people to give you money. All right, so that is what the McKinsey email said. Accelerating growth in e-commerce, granularity of recovery, virtual agility, business model reimagination, and self-funded growth. They're all in the story that are in the show notes that I'm including with this live stream. However, the point of today's talk is how do you interpret those points from a brand perspective? So what I see one big one, and that is business model reimagination. We have all been focused on the crisis. We've been patching the boat. We have been making sure we make it to the next quarter. I can't tell you how many phone calls I have with entrepreneurs and founders who have, just yesterday, one of the folks in the Brand DIY group, they had their marketing budget slashed from, good 5 figures to, basically a couple $1,000s. Everybody's kind of reeling. Everybody's kind of wondering, and they're hunkered down and they're in wartime mode, which is survival mode, which makes us extremely short-term thinkers. We think tactically as opposed to strategically. I am going to leave you with 3 things that I think that you could actually do today, right after this call, to give yourself a bit of a sense of reimagination for your business model. At least at this point of inflection, it will give you something to inflect on from a brand perspective. The first one, competition. Now, personally, I have a really hard time. I'm a brand consultant, and when I had guys from the Brand DIY group look at my website and look at my SEO, the first question they said was, who are your competitors? And said, I don't know. I could list maybe half a dozen brand consultants like myself, but it was really hard. And it's weird because we tend to not look at the competition as much as we should. However, maybe it's time that you type in a couple of key search terms for stuff that you do. For myself, brand consulting. business building. Who pops up? What are they offering? How are they offering it? Are they offering it as a service? Are they offering it as a product? What's the language that they use when they pitch their offering? Does their website look easier than yours? Does it look more hassle-free than yours? Do they have something for you to buy right away? If you don't and they do, think about that. So think about competitors and just maybe take a few minutes this morning, type in a few key terms and see who's out there. You might be surprised. The whole pandemic, economic meltdown might have sprouted up some new competitors that didn't even exist before. It certainly would be of an advantage to you to know who they are and what they're saying. Not because you should get scared, but because you might draw inspiration from them and it would give you ideas on how to compete. And that would bring a smile to your face. The second thing, communication. How are you communicating? Are you using pandemic talk? Are you using the we're all in this together talk? Are you using pre-pandemic talk? The sort of talk that we had before the economic meltdown and the pandemic hit. Do you feel like the way you're talking right now reflects the way you feel, the way your consumers feel? Or do you feel that it could use a bit of a brush up? How are you communicating on your website? Does it feel optimistic? Does it feel like you're there to solve people's problems? Does it feel like you're there for them but not pandering to them, like saying, oh, woe is all of us? How are you communicating? Does it feel enthusiastic or does it feel like you're hunkering down for wartime? Think about not just the website, but all your chains of communication. If you've got an email chain that triggers when somebody downloads a product, how are you communicating at each email? It might be worth just taking a look at all of that language today and going, I wonder if there's something I could tweak. First, competitors. 2, communication. 3, customization. Remember we talked about virtual agility and granularity of recovery in the McKinsey email? Well, this touches on that. Customization. People aren't experiencing the pandemic or the economic meltdown the same way. There is micro ways that they're all experiencing this. Does your brand reflect that? Does it reflect customization? Is there any customization in the product that you offer? If you offer, say, accounting software, I know this is one of my favorite ones. If you offer accounting software, is it the same for everyone? Or does it offer templates that are very specific to different professions? Think about it. Are you collecting any data from consumers? Even as simple as the brand DIY, welcome to brand DIY, who are you? What business are you in? What's the problem that you're facing and what do you hope to get? That's something everybody has to answer when they come to brand DIY. And we gather all that data and we try to tailor what we do to that data. Are you asking those questions that will help you customize your offer to your consumers? Is there any ability to tailor what they buy from you? Even if it's a low price model and a higher price model. A model with limited capabilities or a model with all the bells and whistles? And finally, is there anything at all in place to drive more customization in your product, in your service, in the way you ask questions? Is there anything that you're working on? I can tell you that if consumers have a choice, they appreciate a choice. That's just the way things are now. All right, so to bring it all back, I believe that we are at an inflection point today. And like I said, it might only be for a few more hours. Who knows what craziness is going to come? But we are at an inflection point in what has been an extremely long, arduous year. And serendipity, McKinsey sent the email that talked about 5 ways for rapid revenue recovery. That is getting your business in gear quickly. And what they said is, we want to accelerate the growth in e-commerce. We want to take a look at massive customization, granularity of the experience for people. Virtual agility. How do you take working from home beyond just being on a Zoom call? How can you take it to the next level? Business model reimagination, something that really sparked me from a brand perspective. What's your business model? How can it evolve? And self-funded growth, not so much on the brand perspective, but that is when you build something, how long can you bootstrap it before you need to ask other people for money? And what that drove me to think about and share with you is that today you can do 3 simple things that help you with inflection on your brand. And those 3 things are: take a quick look today at your competitors by typing in a few keywords into Google and seeing who pops up. What are they offering? How are they offering it? What's their language? Do they have something you don't have? Don't take it as something to be discouraged about. Take it as inspiration for a more effective competition. 2, communication. Are you talking pre-pandemic talk? Are you talking pandemic talk? Or are you talking like someone who is at a point at an inflection point going, how can we make the future better together? Finally, customization. Do you have any? Do you have any at least questions you can ask consumers on how they would like to customize? Do you have anything in place to customize your products? Do you have any plans in place to customize your products? So there you go. I hope that that's helpful. I hope that these 3 things, communication, customization, and competition, are 3 things that you can take advantage of, perhaps even this morning, and just use this moment of inflection to go, how can I make my brand better using competitors, communication, and customization? I hope you all have a terrific weekend. And if you have any questions, please send them and get lively. The more you participate, the better this page is. Have a great weekend.